Welcome back, faithful agents, to another episode of the Faithful Agent Podcast. Yes, unfortunately, it's just me and not Tyler. I know, collective sigh. I miss him too. And I'm not as cool as he is. And that's okay. I get it. I understand. Who wants to spend time with me when they can spend time with him? That makes sense. Every time we hang out and anytime we go anywhere, they're like, Garrett, I'm glad you're here, but, Tyler's way cooler than you. In fact, actually, one of the most recent times that we spoke at a conference together, the gentleman who was hosting the conference, who we love, is a friend of ours. Here's how he introduced us. Hey, guys. Welcome. Give a round of applause for Garrett and Tyler, who are coming up on the stage. Tyler was a former professional baseball player of 10 years, 7 with the Baltimore Orioles, 3 with the LG Twins, now works in land acquisition and development for a major builder, and Garrett wasn't a professional athlete. And that was the introduction, and in fact, I thought that was hilarious. But here's the point. It's just me, but it's going to be okay. I think we're going to dive into some good stuff today as the continuation of, as we talk about the PDA formula. So if you're just jumping in for the first time, go back and listen to the first episode talking about alignment. And I think that is the right place for you to start, and then come back in and listen to the P of PDA, which is building a predictable dollar productive business that aligns with who you are. The P, the part we're going to talk about today, is how do we make our business predictable? So let's dive right in, agents. I hope this is an encouragement to you. So let's start here. First and foremost, hope is not a business plan. Let me say that again. Hope is not a business plan. So often, when I'm coaching agents and I ask them, what is your goal for next year, or what are you aiming for, or whatever, the response is, well, I hope to do 20 transactions. Great. What's your plan to get there? Oh, I don't know. That's just what I'm hoping. All right. That mentality, that mindset that happens in this industry, I want us to get rid of that. We're going to build a plan, test a plan, and we're going to make our business predictable. I hope if you stop and think about right now how your life would change, how much better you would feel about your business if you knew predictably how much business was going to come in each year, each month. It would be a game changer. It'd be a game changer. I want you to remember this, that good lead generation is a predictable result from a given effort. A predictable result from a given effort. If I do this, then this happens. That's good lead generation. And no matter how you want to build your business, go back and listen to the episode on alignment. You can make it predictable. All right, let's dive in. Now, here's the challenge. Most real estate agents, most of us, our lead gen strategies could easily be classified as the everything but the kitchen sink meal, right? You know those times where, now I don't cook a lot, but you know those times where, hey, I need to make dinner, but I need to use up all of the food that I have at home, just the mismatched stuff, and I'm going to throw it all into a pot, and I'm going to stir it up, and I'm going to hope that it tastes good. Right. I remember recently my wife made something and it was delicious. And she said, I honestly just made it up. I just needed to use the stuff that we had before we got more groceries. Right. The everything but the kitchen sink meal. Now, most of the time, we throw all of those things in there and they don't turn out exactly how we want them to. Most lead gen strategies that agents employ is, okay, I'm going to do social media. I'm going to do referrals, open houses. I'm going to do some door knocking. I'm going to buy some leads on Zillow. I'm going to call expired listings. I'm certainly going to talk to FSBOs. And, I guess I should probably do a geographic farm and mail this zip code so I can build the business that way. Oh, and I probably want to do client events. Maybe I should partner with lenders, right? These are the things that go through our head, and we just throw everything in a pot. And first of all, that's not a predictable way to build a business, nor is it a predictable way to have a life, because you're just running yourself ragged all over the place and it's chaos all day, every day. That's not good. That's not helpful. But the reality is, when we do it that way, we also don't know what made that work. My wife, when she said, I just made up the recipe, she meant I didn't measure anything. I just kind of threw stuff in and what I thought would work. But if I asked her to recreate exactly what she did, she can't. Why? Because we just used what we had. It's the same thing with real estate agents. So often when I ask the question, what did your year look like last year? Again, let's use an example. Oh, I sold 20 homes. My next question is, where did that business come from? And the answer almost always is, well, I don't know. Okay, well, did some come from your sphere? Yeah, probably probably, I don't know, 10 maybe. Where else did they come from? I don't know. I probably got a couple on social media, maybe a few from door knocking or something like that. I don't know, right? That's not predictability. Not knowing where your business comes from, not knowing what effort you had to do to produce those closings is a recipe for having no life at all. Because you better do everything and do it all the time, or your business is going to fall apart. That's not a good business. That's not a predictable business. What we want to do is create a lead generation recipe. You all know that I love to eat. And specifically, I love to eat donuts. But because I love to eat, we're going to talk about food. How do we create a lead generation recipe? Now, think about grandma's secret recipe. Maybe she's got a secret recipe of this most delicious cake and you love it. And it's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Well, grandma didn't start with a recipe. She created it. She came up with the idea. And she thought, man, maybe if I put this combination of flour and sugar and chocolate and vanilla extract and eggs and milk and heavy whipping cream, I have no idea what goes into a cake. Maybe if I put all of those things together with these specific amounts of each one, I stir it up, I bake it at 350, I wonder how that will taste. And so grandma puts all of those things together. She stirs it up. She puts it in the oven. It bakes. When it comes out, she tastes it. And if it tastes great, awesome. She might tweak it and keep working on it and keep working on it and keep working it. What's the likelihood that the first time it came out, it was exactly right? That's probably unlikely. She kept tweaking it. She kept working on it. That's why it became the secret recipe, because she kept designing it and testing the recipe so that when she put in X, Y, and Z, this amount of flour, this amount of sugar, this amount of chocolate, whatever, when she did that, she knew that what came out was exactly what she wanted. But she created a recipe first. She came up with that, and then she tested it by baking the cake. Well, so here's what we're going to do when we think about building predictable business, building predictable lead generation methods. It is like baking a cake. It is like saying, I'm going to come up with a recipe of what I think is going to work. And if I put this much in and I stir it up for this long and bake it at this heat, how does it taste? And when we test it that way, we will taste the finished product over and over and over again. And when the finished product tastes good, great. If we think it can be better, which it almost always can be, then we go back to that recipe and we tweak something and we stir it up and we put it in the oven and we bake the cake again. And we determine, hey, did that taste right? I think it could be a little bit better. Great. We tweak something and we do it again. Maybe you do your recipe for the first time. You stir it up, you bake it, it comes out. You're like, this is the most disgusting thing I have ever tasted in my life. Never doing it like that again. I need a new recipe. That's the point of how we build predictable lead generation methods. Let me give you an example. Let's say you said to yourself and you thought, I need to build a business off social media. Got to get on social, got to do that more consistently, right? We've heard that all the time. And here, go back to alignment. If that aligns with you, awesome. Do it with excellence. If it doesn't align with you, then maybe don't do it. Certainly don't spend the same effort on it as you would on whatever it is that does align with you. But let's say you come and you say, I need a social media plan. Great. Here's all I want you to do. It is very simple. The problem is most agents never stop to actually come up with a recipe that they can try and taste. This is all I want you to do. Let's say social media. How do I build a business that way? Here's my social media recipe. This is an example. I need to come up with the recipe. Grandma's secret social media recipe, right? It started in my own brain. Here's what I'm going to do. 1 personal video a day. 1 business post a day. I'm going to do that for 30 days. I'm going to execute it and I'm going to track. Okay, so what happened? So here's my ingredients for this cake. 1 personal video each day, 1 business post each day. That's my ingredient for the cake. I'm going to stir those things together, and then I'm going to put it in the oven and let it bake for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, I'm going to decide, did that taste right or not? That's literally it. That's a lead generation recipe. That's what it looks like. Now I've created this recipe, and all I've got to ask myself is, was it super yummy? If it was, then I should run it again, just to taste it again, just to make sure that that's the actual recipe that I want. Was it only mostly yummy, but it was pretty good? All right, tweak it and run it again. Bake that cake again. Was it disgusting? Throw that out. Find a new recipe, create a new recipe, and run it and bake it. That's what I mean. So if you say I did a personal post and a business post every day for 30 days, and you say that was amazing, that worked really well, I need to do that again. Maybe you say that was pretty good, but didn't give me the result I was hoping for. I generated one potential new client or two potential new clients. I really was hoping to have 3 or 4. Maybe then, how do I tweak this recipe? Well, the business posts a day seemed to work. Maybe I need to do 2 videos a day for 30 days. And I'm just going to try that again. I'm going to put them in a pot. I'm going to stir them up and I'm going to let it bake for 30 days. And then I'm going to see how it tasted. That's a lead gen recipe. There it is. And you just keep doing that over and over and over again. You tweak it, you tweak it, you tweak it until it comes out and it is now your secret recipe for whatever form of lead gen that you want. So here's an example. Here's a couple examples. You all know if you've listened to our show, for me, I've done a 36 touch, a referral system my entire career. That's all I've ever done. And so, for example, let's say you want to develop a business more off of your sphere. You say, all right, what's my recipe for my 36 touch? Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Popeye gifts every day for 30 days. I'm going to do a client event in those 30 days, and I'm going to send video text messages to everyone in my database for the next 30 days. Not every day you send it to everyone. I mean, each day you're going to hit a different group of people. Each day you're going to drop off a different gift to somebody new. In that month, you're going to do a client event. You say, here's my recipe. I think if I give away 25 Popeyes this month, if I do video text to everyone in my database, and I do a client event, I think here's the outcome. Here's the goal, right? You don't start putting together a cake recipe not knowing what you're trying to bake, right? That's what is so common in this industry. It's like you did all that work. What were you trying to create? I don't know. Well, no one would bake a cake that way. You didn't accidentally create a pizza when you thought you were making a cake, right? You went in there saying, I'm trying to get a cake. So you go into these lead gen recipes and say, here's my goal. I need to get 2 deals a month out of my sphere. So if I do Popeyes, 25, if I do a client event and I do text messages to my database, video text to my database this month, I'm going to run that recipe and I'm going to see how it goes. Stir all those things up. Bake it in the oven for 30 days, whatever time frame you give yourself for 30 days. And when it comes out, then you look at it. Did that give me the result I was looking for? And if it didn't, what do I think I need to tweak? Or do I need to scrap it? Or do I just need to run it again? Then you just ask questions, not difficult questions. You just look at what the result was. Did I get 1 client but not 2? Did I get 4 clients instead of 2? Wow, that's amazing. Maybe I should do the exact same thing again and see how it works. Try to build consistency so it become my secret recipe. Maybe for open houses, you say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 4 open houses a month. I'm going to door knock 2 hours in advance of each open house, and I'm going to put 40 signs up each time I do an open house. That's my recipe. And my expected outcome, the cake that I'm hoping to bake, the outcome of this stirring this up and putting in the oven is an anticipated 2 deals a month. So you run that recipe, you do the door knocking, you host 4 open houses, you do 40 signs, and you see what happened. And then you tweak it, or you run it again, or you scrap it and start over. Maybe prospecting. You say, I'm going to buy Zillow leads. I'm going to spend 2 hours a day calling on them and 2 hours a day circle prospecting. And my goal is that's going to generate 2 deals a month. So you run that recipe. You bake that cake and you see what happened. Maybe for FSBOs, I'm going to create FSBO sales tips and drop them off along with the listing packet to 10 different FSBOs a day. And I'm going to make 20 calls a day to other FSBOs who are on the market who I can have a conversation with and try to connect with them. Great. There's your recipe. Stir it together, put it in the oven, bake it, and then see what the outcome was. It is literally that simple. The problem is, as agents, we start with not even knowing what we're trying to bake, right? So we've got to start there. What is my intention? And it's simple. This does not need to be complicated. It's simple. My intention when I go to create this recipe is that my cake is going to be 2 deals a month. That's what I'm going for. Great. 2 deals a month. That's the outcome expected. Awesome. What recipe, what ingredients do I need to do that? A Popeye, a client event, video messages. Maybe it's 2 hours door knocking, 4 open houses, 40 signs, right? There's my recipe. I'm going to run that recipe. I'm going to test it. Did it produce the cake? Did it produce 2 deals? Yes or no? If the answer is no, what do I need to change? If the answer is yes, great. Can I still make this better? It is literally that simple. That's how this works. But when you're running around doing everything all at once, you can't sit down and think at all strategically about how this is going to work. But you just got to have a really simple recipe. You got to run it and you got to see what happens. It's literally that simple. So maybe you say, hey, client events created me 2 deals a month. And if I cold call and prospect for 2 hours a day, it's going to create me 4 deals a month, right? So let's use that as an example. Hey, look, I ran this recipe. I built that, I baked that cake, and it created 2 deals a month on my client events. I created a recipe to prospect 2 hours a day, and I baked the cake, and it created 4 deals a month. Well, now you can say, hey, simple. Now, what's my bigger, broader recipe? How do I build a 60 deal a year business? Well, I need 2 hours a day of prospecting, right? Because that was producing 4 deals a month. So 36 deals for the year. And if I do a monthly client event, which produced 2 deals a month, so 24 deals for the year, voila, there's my 60 deals a year. Now you've got to figure it out. Now you know the recipe. Now you just got to bake the cake. That's how this works. It can be that simple. We complicate it. We listen to the industry and they complicate it for us. We have this desire that the only way we should succeed is if the method we use is so complex that no one else can figure out. Well, that doesn't make sense. Simplicity is genius. So make it simple and run that recipe over and over and over again. The point is this: decide on a recipe, follow it exactly, bake the cake, and just keep tweaking that recipe until the perfect cake comes out. It's that simple. Decide on a recipe, follow it, bake it, and determine, was that good? Was that bad? How can I make it better? And just keep doing that over and over and over again. So many people ask me, how do I get to the point where I'm generating 50 closed deals a year consistently? And I always tell them, I've done one thing for 9 years, a 36 touch, one thing. I built a recipe early on in my career, and I tested it. And every time it worked, I said, how can I make this better? And anytime it didn't work, I said, what didn't work? What new ingredient do I need? Or what ingredient do I need to take out? Or do I need to let it bake a little bit longer? And I just kept doing that over and over and over again. I tweaked it literally for 3 years. 3 years. But now it produces 50 plus deals a year, all by referral, which last year for my team, just so you know, not in any way brag, last year for my team, we brought in $900,000 in GCI, and I only spent $10,000 total in marketing dollars. That was a 9,000% return on investment. The question is, would you like 50 deals a year, whatever your number is? Would you like to have a 9,000% return? Well, then it's right there for you to go get it. You just got to build a recipe and tweak it until it's perfect. That's it. That's lead generation. That's building a predictable business. My hope is as agents, as Christian agents in particular, that we know that is our calling to be excellent in what we do. We should not run around like chickens with our heads cut off. We should not have chaos at the forefront of our eyes every single day in how we generate business. We should be intentional and know what we're doing. Be excellent at what you do. And if we can help, reach out to us. I hope this has been encouragement to y'all as you think about building a predictable business. If it has been, share it with a friend. Download the episode, helps us with the algorithm, and make sure you tune in for the next episode as we wrap this series up on how to build a dollar productive business. Thanks for tuning in, agents.